Developing musicianship online.
Hello and welcome back to DM Online. Today I'm going to give you my top 10 tips for using GarageBand. Hope you find some of them useful. Let's go with number 1. When using MIDI, it can be hard to play everything precisely to the beat that the computer sets. Solve this problem with Quantize. The left top corner has a scissors button. Click on that, and if you select Notes, you'll find the Time Quantize option. Set the note value to the smallest denomination of size that you're using for a note. In this case, 16th notes are the optimum spot for me to quantize to. Once you select 16th notes, you will find that all of your playing now locks in to the 16th notes on the timeline. Did you ever start a project and wish you'd chosen a different key? Well, this can be solved quite easily with the Transpose functions. For a MIDI track, click the scissors in the left-hand top corner and you'll find Transpose options that will shift the pitch in half steps or semitones. If you wish to do the same with a wave file, such as from an instrument like a bass or a guitar, or the voice, you will also find using the scissors and the Transpose button at the bottom of the list in the region section will help you to transpose your work. You can also use pitch correction in the track section of the wave file tracks. GarageBand, unlike other types of sound software, does not come with a mixing desk console, so getting the right levels on your tracks can sometimes be a little bit fiddly. One of the very helpful ways to manage this is by clicking the A key and entering automations. From there, you have volume control on the left underneath each track, so you can create a timeline to push things up in your mix or to pull things back in your mix. Form the anchor points for shifting the volume by clicking on the line and creating dots. By creating 2 dots on either side of your volume change, you can easily control just the area that you want to change the volume for. The sound of your tracks can be easily modified using plugins. Plugins can be changed by pressing the dial button next to the pair of scissors in the left-hand top corner. Once in the dial button, you have track and master options. Under the track option is the word plugins, found just below noise gate. You are allowed up to 4 plugins. If you come to an instrument that already has plugins, you are able to switch them off and change them out for the type of plugins that you need to achieve the results you're looking for. Sometimes music will sound better, either speeding up progressively or slowing down progressively. You can easily change the tempo as your piece of music moves through its timing by going to the track option in the menu and turning on the Show Tempo Track option. Once in the tempo track, you need to hold the option key down and create markers as if it was in an automation. Wherever you set a marker, you can then lift up or down the tempo. By grabbing the hollow dot, you can bend the tempo. So this would create a progressively faster or progressively slower change in tempo. The loop library has a massive collection of options for you when it comes to creating your music. To access the loop library, go to the right-hand top corner where you'll find a circular button. Press on the circular button and you'll open up the loop library. Once in the loop library, if you've downloaded all of your additional sounds, you'll have a massive collection in which to draw from. You can filter the instruments down using the filter option or go for genre-based filters. You should also be mindful of some of the information available in the naming itself, such as the amount of time the loop takes, or the amount of beats that loop is designed to go for. You will also find an additional filter option for scale types, either minor, major, neither or both, or any. This can be useful when you've set a key and you want to make sure you're sticking to the key that you've already written part of your music for. The boxes in your timeline can be manipulated in different ways. By grabbing the top right corner of a box, you're going into loop function, and by dragging that out, it will simply loop exactly what already exists in that box. By grabbing the bottom of the box, you can stretch it out to add more information into that box. This is particularly useful in MIDI, where you want to add a few extra notes or to adjust the timing of where the information finishes for the previous MIDI section and allow you to clearly align the stop of that particular portion with the next portion that you're about to add. You may find that you want to duplicate parts into other tracks. For example, you've written a part for a trumpet and you think a combination of a trumpet and a saxophone playing that line would sound better. There is a simple process to duplicate your box between tracks. Providing you're going from MIDI to MIDI or wave to wave, you can grab the box, hold down the Option key and drag downwards to duplicate the track. Also, if you wanted to, you could do the same, going to extend it. Instead of looping, you can hold Option and drag it sideways, and that will allow you to place it in another part in the song. You may find as you're working that you need a second track that's got identical settings to the first track. This may be a situation where you're creating an overlap between two parts and you don't want the instrument to change sound. It's quite simple. All you need to do is click on the track that you want to duplicate, hold down the Control key and click again, where you'll find multiple options including New Track with Duplicate Settings. By clicking on New Track with Duplicate Settings, you've now taken exactly the same settings you had for whatever the amplification and plugins were and created a new track with those settings. The automatic drummer is a brilliant addition to GarageBand. To add an automatic drummer, click the plus key at the top of your tracks and you'll be given the drummer option, a yellow button. Once you've added the yellow button, you will have Kyle as your player. Just to use the drummer in its own way that it comes as a default can be great for some things. When you put a cut in, it will do a fill. When you are phrasing over a longer period of time, you can set it up to do fills that happen at appropriate times during your song. If you want to control it more, by turning automations on, you can control individual components of the drum kit. If you don't want to mess with automations, by clicking on the drummer and going to the scissors option, you'll go to the settings for the drum kit. These settings allow many different options. They include changing the feel to swing for jazz, changing the actual instruments themselves that are included in the feel, or changing the complexity and the volume. There are a variety of other presets available to you in the beat presets. This is a powerful tool and I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it if you explore all the possibilities that there are around this mechanism. So there you have it. There's my top 10 tips for using GarageBand. There's plenty more to come, including graphic equalizers and compression that I'm going to cover in the next couple of episodes. So make sure you subscribe and keep up to date with what's the latest going down on my channel. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye.
DM, developing musicianship online.